ओम पवित्रं चरितं यस्याः पवित्रं जीवनं तथा पवित्रता स्वरूपिण्यै तस्यै कुर्मो नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु श्रद्धारूपेण संस्थित नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। My pranams at the divine feet of the divine trio. My pranams at the holy feet of most revered Srimad Swami Gautamananji Maharaj, who is a source of constant inspiration to all of us. My pranams to all the most revered monks of Ramakrishna order, respected nuns. My namaskars to all the Bhava Prachar family members of Mother India. I feel I am really fortunate to share my thoughts, culminating the ideas that were propounded, that were presented in today's morning session. I am very happy to be here, the place which I consider as the holiest place in the world, because this place is being blessed by Sri Ramakrishna, Shima and Swamiji. If Sri Ramakrishna represents, if he is the embodiment of all Vaishnava avatars, Shrimata, all the Shakta avatars, it is Swami Vivekananda who is the embodiment of all Shaiva avatars in my view. My respects to Shriman Piyush Punj and Shri Prashant Chatterjee ji. Today morning we had, in our English session that was headed by most revered Swami Raghaveshanji, Shriman Natarajan from Andhra Pradesh spoke on stress management in the light and teachings of Divine Trio. Prashant Prasad, Parashuram Prasad, on the subject They Alone Live Who Live for Others. Shri Kennedy, who spoke on Swamiji and his Guru Sri Ramakrishna. Mr. Gopalakrishnan, who spoke on Vivekananda's views on the masses. Shri Ajit Kumar spoke on the subject Expectations of Swami Vivekananda from me as his devotee. Shri Govardhan spoke on the subject Making and Keeping Commitments. Shri Tattvakhandar Mishra from Orissa spoke on the subject Swami Vivekananda, the playmate of Sri Ramakrishna. And finally, Pujya Mataji Vivekamahi from Karnataka spoke on the subject Swamiji, a patriot. All the presentations were excellent and up to the mark. They concentrated the subjects very well. And it was a very unique opportunity for me to listen to them with rapt attention. Romarola, in his book, The Life of Vivekananda, says, this greater India, this new India, is impregnated with the soul of Sri Ramakrishna, the twin star of Paramahamsas, and the hero who translated his thought into action, dominates and guides her present destinies. Its warm radiance is the leaven working within the soil of India and fertilizing it. People all over the world are in search of peace, stability, amity among religions, and individual freedom in a sustainable society. All this can come only under the right kind of leadership. Here comes the historic importance of a spiritually enlightened leader like Swami Vivekananda, in whom, as Romarola puts it, the four kinds of human energies, physical, intellectual, emotional and spiritual, made a wonderful combination. Today the world is celebrating the 150th birth anniversary of Vivekananda. At this All India Convention for Bhava Prachar Parishads, a closer look was given at the many-sided genius personality of Swami Vivekananda and his work. Shri Tattvakhandar Mishra presented beautifully a paper on Swami Vivekananda, the playmate of Sri Ramakrishna. He referred to Sri Ramakrishna's vision of the Akhanda Loka, where the baby form of Sri Ramakrishna and the form of an ancient sage, Nara, appeared and unitedly decided to come down to the earth for their Naralila. Sri Ramakrishna himself has asserted their non-difference by saying that absolutely there is no difference between his body and Narendranath's body. Romarola in his biography on Vivekananda says, the great disciple whose task it was to take up the spiritual heritage of Ramakrishna and disseminate the grain of his thought throughout the world was both physically and morally his direct antithesis. It will not be difficult at all if we understand the work of Swamiji as the culmination of that started by Master. Swamiji reiterated again and again at various places that his only task was to work out his Master's ideas. He says, what I am is always due to him. Whatever in me or in my words is good and true and eternal came to me from his mouth, his heart and his soul. Shri Kennedy Naivalli, in his paper on Swami Vivekananda and his Guru Sri Ramakrishna, very aptly said that when Narendranath went to Sri Ramakrishna with his question, have you seen God? He not only saw one who had seen God, but the one who is verily God himself. As Sri Ramakrishna knew well that Naren had come to the world to preach unto mankind their divinity and find methods to realize that, he simply kindled the fire of jnana that was already glowing in Narendranath. Sri Ramakrishna came down to reinstate the prestige and glory of Sanatana Dharma and made it vital for the progress of humanity at large and the country in particular. Rightly, he chose his disciple Naren to lead it. Sri Ramakrishna declared to others about Naren, the time will come when he will shake the world to its very foundations through the strength of his intellectual and spiritual power. At every step, Swami Vivekananda was conscious in his life of the task his Guru had allocated to him. Sri Gopalakrishnan spoke on the subject, Swami Vivekananda's views on the masses. The point is that to be particularly stressed about by Ramakrishna order and movement is that Ramakrishna movement is progressive. It advocates the combination of Western science and Eastern spirituality to be the need of the hour. As Albert Einstein, who bagged 2 Nobel Prizes, says, in this materialistic age of ours, the serious scientific workers are the only profoundly religious people. The novelty about Ramakrishna order is that it preaches not only God realization, but also service to humanity. The concept Daridra Narayana conveys an idea of the highest type of patriotism to which it is difficult to find a parallel in the history of the world. Service without renunciation is lifeless, and renunciation without service is meaningless. Service is not an act of charity alone. It is in reality an act of love, pure and selfish, done in disregard of the consequences. It was a scholarly presentation by Mother Vivekamayi on the subject Swamiji, a patriot. Mataji stressed on the point that this patriot saint of modern India not only supported his country but loved her fervently, adored her intensely, and admired her greatly. Quoting Swamiji's words, Mataji said, practical patriotism means not a mere sentiment or even emotion of love of the motherland, but a passion to serve our fellow countrymen. His whole life was spent in sagacious understanding of the problems of India, finding solutions for them and working out the solutions. It was a dynamic love that was ready for any sacrifice for the good of India. Patriotism and humanitarianism became his passion, to be sublimated finally into a religion. He made Indian philosophy concern itself with the problems of the common man, writes Srimad Swami Ranganathanandaji. Parashuram Prasad, in his speech, "They alone live who live for others," mentioned about Swamiji's great ideas of differentiating between work and worship in three different patterns: work and worship, work as worship, and work is worship. Swamiji influenced Gandhi. To quote one incident about Gandhi in recent times, Geir Lundstedt, the secretary of Norwegian Nobel Committee, said, "The greatest omission in 106 years of history is undoubtedly that of Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi never received the Nobel Prize. Gandhi could do without the Nobel Prize. Whether the Nobel Committee today can do without Gandhi is the biggest question." In a speech made in 1993, Federico Meyer, the Director General of UNESCO, said, I am indeed struck by the similarities of the constitution of Ramakrishna Mission, which was established by Vivekananda as early as 1897, with that of UNESCO drawn up in 1945. Both place the human beings at the center of their efforts aimed at development. Both place tolerance at the top of the agenda for building peace and democracy. Both recognize the variety of human cultures and societies as an essential aspect of common heritage. I'll conclude in another 1 minute. Without this universality, broad-mindedness, liberalism, and humanitarianism, there cannot be any peace. An immature mind, enmeshed in worldly, uninspired thoughts, is a source of tension, anxiety, and stress. Sri Natarajan has put forth wonderfully various practical spiritual principles to alleviate stress in his paper, Stress Management in the Light of the Message of Divine Trio. And he expressed the great teachings of Mother Sri Ramakrishna. As said by Mother, if we want peace of mind, we should look at our own faults rather than looking at the faults of others. And nobody is a stranger in this world. These are the important things he stressed upon. And finally, to conclude, Sri Govardhan spoke on the subject, making and keeping the commitments. And Ajit Kumar, expectations of Swami Vivekananda on me, spoke wonderfully. To conclude, the highest source of strength and fearlessness is, according to Swami Vivekananda, the conviction that one is basically an infinite, deathless, and blissful self. Vivekananda's doctrines of strength as the cardinal virtue is that strength which leads one to the Atman, which is inclusive of strength in all its forms, physical, mental, intellectual, and spiritual. Swami Vivekananda was himself a manifold personality, a spiritual giant who not only satisfied with his own unfoldment, intensely strove for the good of all. Whatever he did or spoke, it was for the salvation of India, for the removal of misery of the world, and above all, how every human being could get the knowledge of his divinity. His message was therefore not for one time, but for all times, not for one country, but for the whole mankind, not for one aspect of human life, but for all aspects of human existence. May the Lord help us, each one of us, to realize the rishihood for our own salvation and for that of others. Thank you for giving me a patient here. Jai Ram Krishna.